Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with London-based jazz saxophonist and composer Trish Clowes. We caught up with her on May 1st, 2020 during the early stages of the COVID-19 lockdown from her base in London to talk about music and the positivity that can be garnered during such a time. We got into her career and so much more. Enjoy. The one thing I want to know from you is there's been music that you had released last year. What is it like to be able to have music out during a pandemic but not being able to tour or any of that? It has to be bittersweet.
It's pretty horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think the thing is that because it's so hard anyway, it just gets harder, or has been getting harder and harder every year financially for people, that you just look forward to doing your own, when you get to do it properly. It's just, everyone looks forward to it so much, and you have such a great time when you're doing it, and then you're just waiting for the next chance to do the thing. So when the pandemic when it looked like it was getting closer to home, I guess you start to psychologically prepare yourself. You just because for me, I was so looking for, I had a load of gigs in April and I had a really nice thing in March that I really wanted to do as well. And you're just so gutted, but then you really quickly have to sort of think, well, I don't know, I just can't stand thinking like that. I can't be negative, it just makes me, I can't stand it. So I think you just sort of have to park it, and you just have to, for me, it's just been really important to think of other ways to get excited about what you might be able to do at the end of it all, and that's the only way I can handle it. I can't. It's just too horrible. Yeah,
right.
Just incredibly frustrating, and it's kind of rips. It's not just the money thing. It's it just rips the heart out of why you're doing it. Because I think when you improvise, even if you write a lot, which I do. And I do, and obviously I really enjoy doing that, but the whole point is so that I can then improvise and play with other people. It's not the same when you're overdubbing stuff or when you're just writing on, it's just not the same.
Yeah, I get it. So let's go back to the beginning of your life. Talk to me about growing up and how jazz became your life.
Okay, so music has always been there. I didn't... There weren't any professional musicians in my family, but there were lots of people who played music. So my granddad had taught himself piano, so he played a lot of show tunes and things like that when I was growing up. And so I used to sing with him a bit. And then my dad played trumpet and did quite a lot of arranging and things for he had an amateur local brass group kind of thing. So I was quite used to him just making up his own, not necessarily compositions, but arranging stuff in a fun way, So he just did that in his spare time. And then my mum was really musical. She was a ballet dancer, so she didn't study music, but she obviously music was a big part of what she was doing and stuff. And then I just my parents just got me on piano lessons from 4. So I don't really remember not being able to read music, things like that. But it was just very chilled. It wasn't a hot housing kind of thing. I didn't think I was going to do music. And then I started playing clarinet when I was about 10. And my dad was just really keen for me to play with groups of people, because obviously the piano can be quite solitary. And then I think it was when I was about 13ish, I think he started coming home. I think one of his other musician friends had put him onto those Jamie Aebersold play-along things. And he brought a couple home, and he was like, "Oh, why don't you have a go, at this?" And actually, I've had quite a lot of jazz in my upbringing without even realising it, because I'd listened to loads of Ella Fitzgerald and that kind of thing, but it wasn't sold to me as jazz. It was just Ella being awesome and copying her and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I just and again, I just did it, as a kind of hobby thing. And then the first time I heard saxophone, I'll put it this way, the first time I sort of heard a tenor saxophone being played in a jazz kind of way, live, that is, was a big band concert that my dad was involved in. It was just like a local thing, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. At which point the clarinet sort of didn't get played anymore.
Nice.
And yeah, but again, it was very much, I sang, played piano, played saxophone, and, I was in bands in school, just bits and bobs of everything really, but it wasn't like it was, I don't know how much you know about the UK, but I grew up in Shropshire, which is quite a rural, I grew up in a town, but it's like quite a sort of countryside-y part of the UK. So it's not like there was like loads and loads of stuff going on. There was just like a few local jazz players, but
yeah.
So that's basically what it was like for me until I moved to London to study. But yeah, I basically decided, I think I was like partway through my A levels, which is like 17. That's when I decided that I was going to focus on music. And then, I just sort of had to figure out how I was going to do it.
Right on.
So,
Yeah, no, and that tends to be the case with jazz. It's not something that happens early on. It tends to be later. So why do you love jazz?
The spontaneity and the personalities, and just that sort of edgy rawness, just like anything's possible when you go, like when you start something, like anything is possible. I love that.
Why do you what's the best thing about being a musician?
I quite enjoy the sort of roller coaster of it, I say. And I think as time goes on, you get more addicted to that. So just sort of not knowing what's going to happen, and then having like really cool experiences, really moving experiences, and also just like the relationships that you have with the musicians you play with over time, just seeing how they grow over time, and they become really special kinds of friendships. And obviously, like now how long I guess I've been out of college, nearly 13 years, so I'm starting to get that sense of what that feels like, just like working through and sticking with it, and just the sort of energy that comes off that. So that's what I love about being a jazz musician, and I like that we kind of inhabit this slightly strange space between what the classical scene are up to and what the pop scene are up to, and we're sort of, no one really knows, where we fit in a way. It's kind of a bit different to America, I guess, in that sense, but we've got our own little space where no one's really sure about what we do.
No, and it's the same thing in America. Yeah, there's a gray area for sure. So it goes without saying we're going to get back to the live music at some point. So my question to you is, what do you hope both the musician and the audience realizes about this time away?
That we can fight for it more, actually. I think, again, difficult to know. Like, I think the stereotype of America is that people are a bit better at being vocal about issues. And I think in the UK, I don't know, like, we can just fight, everyone just fight more for what they believe in. That's what I think, just like really say what you mean and do what you mean and do what you say and all that kind of stuff, and just like no holds barred, just go for everything, and life's too short, because it's the ideal music for that kind of philosophy anyway. I think that's what I'd say.
Well, I would agree. Looking from the outside, you're the originators of punk. You guys brought us the Clash and Bowie and a lot of real straightforward people that don't play games. And when I've seen rallies that you guys have put on in the last 8 months, it's not a game. There's just balloons and things that are going on that just you wouldn't see around here. Which if you're going to do it right, but.
Yeah.
But at any rate, my final question to you is this. Everyone has a perception of you, your family, your friends, and your fans, but you're living your life. Who do you think you are?
Oh God, who do I think I am? I think I know better each year. I don't know. I think everyone has sort of multiple facets to them, don't they? I think that's the truth of it. I think I'm quite a happy person on the whole. I'm definitely not someone that, like, I have to feel happy to be creative. So it's really important to me that I'm in a good headspace, so that I can write music and I can play and I can practice and I can make stuff happen. And if I don't feel happy and I've got a good way of looking at things, then I'm not very good at making things, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'd say I'm a happy person. I'd say it's that kind of, or like, like I strive to be. Maybe that's a better way of putting it.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, I like it. Trish, hey, thanks for taking a minute out during this pandemic to talk about the music.
It's so nice of you to get in touch and stuff. It's really cool. It's like we're just getting contacted from the other side of the planet with this kind of thing going on. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest musicians in London, America, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Trish for her time, music, and stories. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.